Sorry for not really having an intro, but I was running late. And also sorry for the delay of videos, but guess what? I'm back. First thing first, you start off with a freshly washed face, and then you go and add your moisturizers and then your primer. So I already did my brows off camera and my moisturizer. So now I'm just adding my primer, and everything that I use will be listed down below. Now I'm just adding on some concealer to my eyelids so that those colors will show very pigmented. The first color I'm going to go in with is a pink color, and I use this kind of as a transition color, but I also wanted it to show really, really well. So I just kept blending that out and adding more if needed, just to make sure that it showed well. I'm doing the same steps on the opposite side. For the second color, I'm going to go in with the orange, but as you can see, it's really just blending in with that pink color, so you can't really tell. So I'm just going to take some concealer and cut my crease that way that orange will show better. And you want to make sure that when you cut your crease that the concealer is blended out very well. If not, as you put it on your eyeshadows, it will look blotchy and the concealer will lift up a little bit. At least that's what happens when I forget to blend really well. Now I'm just going in with that orange. You see a difference that makes? It makes that orange color really pop. So I'm just tapping that color on top of that concealer, and I'm going to be going back and forth between that orange and that pink just to blend it out very well so I don't have any harsh lines. Now I'm just going in with my third color, which is a yellow. And for the yellow, I really had to pack it on in order for it to show. Um, but after you see only a few times, it showed very well. But I really wanted that yellow to stand out. Now I'm just taking a blending brush and I'm blending that orange and that yellow together. Again, so it won't be any harsh lines. And adding a little pink at the top so it also blends. And now that you got all the colors blended together, you can move on to your eyeliner. I'm using a liquid eyeliner, and I'm still practicing at getting both of my wings to look the same. And what I'm doing is just outlining by starting real close to that lash line. And then I kind of bring it out a little more when it goes to add the wing part. And then I'm just filling in that wing area. And I didn't want the black to be so bold considering this is a bright color look. Now I'm going in with some gold eyeliner. just to go over that black. Not exactly over, but on top, but as close as possible that I can get to that black without going over as I possibly could. And I also added some at the top just to give it a different look. I did the other eye off camera just so I wouldn't take up too much time because I really was on a time crunch, so I had to hurry up and get going. So what I'm doing now is just adding some concealer on my dark marks on my face. And this is just so I don't have to add a whole bunch of foundation to cover those areas. Once you have the concealer put on the areas that you wanted it to cover, just take your foundation brush and just blend that out very well. And as you can see, this concealer blends very well with my skin tone. So if I wanted to, I can use this as a foundation also. Now I'm just taking a little bit of my foundation and putting little dots on my face. And I use two different foundations. Well, they're the same exact foundation. One is matte and one is oily. And I liked it the way they combine together. So I used both of those. And I just made, like I said, a bunch of dots on my face to make sure everything will be covered. And you really don't need a lot. And just blend that out very well before moving on to my next step. And be very careful when going by your eyes, because I don't know if you just noticed, I slightly touched my wing, but on camera you really don't notice it, but it's there. And make sure you be very careful also around your brows, because you don't want to mess those up, especially when you took your precious time to do them. And now I'm just going in and fix that wing. As I said before, it kind of went over a little bit with the shadows. Now I'm just going in with some concealer. And with this concealer, it kind of like blended a little bit close to my skin tone. So I'm going to have to grab one that's another shade lighter. But it also works just as well. So I might, grab another one the same color. Who knows? And I'm just blending this out. And I also added a little bit to my nose, my chin, and my forehead. And just blending it out. Now I'm taking some powder and just setting that concealer in. And then I blend it out right away because underneath my eyes it gets really, really dry. So I don't want any patchy areas under there. So I'm making sure I blend that out really well. And I also went in with a translucent powder on top of that. And I'm taking some highlight and just brightening up around that area. And I noticed that right there my eyeshadow was kind of slightly missing. And I'm also adding a little bit of that highlight to my tear duct area. Again, just to bring more focus to my eyes. Dust away any of that setting powder that you added on. And I used that same brush and added some highlight to my cheeks. And again, I do not contour. So now let's move on to the hair. So the style that I was going for is a mohawk, and I didn't feel like braiding the back of my hair, honestly. So I just decided to curl everything, and then later on I will push everything to where I need it to go, and if it doesn't stay, I will pin it up. So now I'm just taking my flat irons and just making some tight curls, just so that the curls will stay throughout the whole day. As you can see, I added some holding spray to help it hold. Now as I move further up my head, as you can see, I'm still going backwards, but I'm going to slightly reverse my straightener to go the opposite way, as you will see later on in the video. Now you can use regular size flat irons to do this, or you can use minis. My minis actually broke, so I just went with what I have. And I like that holding spray because it's not a hard holding spray. Now this is where that back and forth motion is about to come into play. And since I was in a rush, I took bigger sections. Normally I would take smaller sections, but like I said, I was on a time crunch and we were already late. So I'm just taking these sections and curling those sections forward. And again, make sure those curls are nice and tight. And make another section, and that section will be going backwards. And every part you do, you're going to continue that back and forth motion. And again, please take smaller sections. Like I said, I was in a rush, so I had to move a little fast. And please excuse my facial expressions. I don't be mad. I don't know why in every video it looks like that. And now I'm just taking my fingers and just raking everything apart so everything is not so close together. Going in with some edge control just to lay those little hairs that didn't make it into the braids down. Now I'm just taking a little edge control to the back of my head. And I noticed that little part still was sticking up to the back of my head. And I'm going to add a little bit more. And then I just take a brush and I'm just going to brush that up just to get it to where I need it to be. And it did work for the most part. I didn't really have to pin the back up, just I had to pin those braids together, and that was pretty much it. And I'm sorry I didn't get a picture of the back of my head, like a clear picture. So if I happen to do this style again, which I'm pretty sure I will make sure that I get one for the back. And now I'm just going in and curling whatever that needs to be fixed, and still taking my finger to rake everything apart, but also make sure that everything is still curled also. You also can do this step with your comb. I just prefer to do it with my hands. And I'm going to go in with my go-to lip liner just to outline my lips a little bit. I'm looking for which lip gloss I'm going to use, or if I'm going to use lipstick. But I went ahead and just chose lip gloss, which I had to apply off camera because I didn't want it to touch my shirt. I can't believe I almost forgot my mascara. So now I'm just adding on some mascara primer just to help my lashes stand out more. And you just apply it like regular mascara. And it's also supposed to help separate your lashes so that your lashes are not clumped together. But it helps. Don't really give you much length, but it does help. Now I'm going in with my regular mascara that I always use and just applying it regular. And also making sure that I get those bottom lashes. And again, I added on my lip gloss and also the setting spray off camera because I was in a rush and my husband kept watching the clock. Oh, and I also apply my contacts off camera. And this is the finished look. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you haven't done so, turn on your post notification bell so you won't miss whenever I post a video. Thank you.